Example 2 for our applications is the finding the percent of a raise, right? So you're probably at the age where you either have a job or you'll be getting a job soon, and raises are always good. And a lot of time raises are based on percent. So for example, maybe you get a 5% raise or a 10% raise. So to figure out what the percent is, there's a couple methods. You can use an equation with the verbal model that they give us, and we'll do that. But you can also use the percent proportion to work with a lot of percents. And so I'm going to show you both ways, and you can decide which method you like. Let's start with making an equation. So we have that we accept a job that pays $10 per hour. You're told that after a 2-month probationary period, your hourly wage will be increased to $11 per hour. So if we go from $10 an hour to $11 an hour, our raise is $1. What percent raise will you receive? So essentially they're asking, what percent raise? If the raise is $1, what percent of my original, which is $10, is that? Okay. So to set it up as an equation, we can set it up as the raise equals the percent times the old wage. Okay. So our raise was $1. Oops, I'm going to not use labels with my equation. So $1 equals the percent we don't know, and then the old wage was $10. So essentially all I'd have to do is divide by 10 here, and then I'd get x equals 1/10, which is 0.10. But remember, we want our answer to be a percent, and our calculator is always going to give us a decimal. So this is our decimal answer. We want to convert it to percent. And to do that, we just move our decimal place over 2 spots to the right. So that would be a 10% raise. So that's how we can do it using our equation. Your percent proportion that we covered in intermediate algebra and algebra 2 is over of equals percent over 100, or part over whole equals percent over 100. Multiple ways of thinking about that. So we want to find the percent. So that's where our variable would be. So if we set up a blank proportion, that's our variable. So the part that we're looking at would be our raise, and our raise was $1. And then our whole was our old wage, which is $10. So it's asking us what percent of $10, so of goes on the bottom, is $1, and is goes on the top. So you can think about it as is over of, or as part over whole. The part was the raise as $1. The whole was your old wage, which is $10. Either way, now we have a proportion we can solve. So we do 1 times 100 equals 10 times x. I like to put the variable first, so I'm going to do 10 times x. So 10x equals 1 times 100, 100. Divide by 10. Now this gives you the proportion. It doesn't give you the decimal. So this is your proportion, or sorry, is your percentage of 10%. So either way, equation or proportion, you can solve for percents. Here are more common formulas. And these are all what we call literal equations. And again, you've worked with these before. They're equations that have more than one variable in them. The most common types are all of these geometric formulas for area, for circumference, perimeter, volume. Notice they all have multiple variables in them. So in our next video for notes, we'll look at more formulas that are non-geometric and then do a couple more examples.